by the Chair of the External Affairs and Additional Legislation Committee on Brexit priorities, and I call on the Chair of the committee, David Rees.
I've brought forward this statement today in order to give the Assembly an update on our priorities for Brexit for the remaining months of 2019, and hopefully take some of the politics out of this as well. And members might have heard this be said before, and many times at various points during the Brexit process, but nevertheless we are entering a critical phase between now and the 31st of October of this year. The decisions made over the coming months will have far-reaching consequences that will shape our politics for many, many years to come. And although many of these decisions will take place in Westminster, there is still a number of areas where we as a committee will focus our efforts on behalf of Wales. Yesterday we heard again from the Brexit Minister his statement, and I appreciate very much the continual updates we receive from the Minister. But as you heard yesterday, it was very much a stagnant position in Westminster because not much is going on there. So, Llywydd, in my statement today, I'd like to focus on my comments on three priority areas which we believe are important for Wales. Brexit preparedness, particularly in terms of implications for our economy. The risk to devolution and the future of the Union of the United Kingdom as a consequence of what may come, and the impact of Brexit on the EU and EEA nationals living in Wales. During the last 2.5 years, we have regularly examined the preparedness of key sectors in order to highlight the issues that are of particular importance to Wales. And we have always focused upon the issues which are relevant to Wales. And that's important for members to remind themselves. This has included looking at the implications of Brexit for Welsh ports, taking a look at how public services in Wales are preparing, and examination of some of the implications for key sectors of the economy. Whilst much of this work has been done, it has to be noted that our work in this area, particularly in relation to no deal, cannot be considered to be an exhaustive list of the potential risks and benefits. In particular, it remains the case that the implications of leaving the EU without a deal could manifest themselves in an unpredictable and damaging ways. Which brings me to the challenges for the next 3 or 4 months. And it is important that we discuss this today because we are going to have recess on Friday. A new Prime Minister will come into force next week. He will form a new government and we will not be returning until mid-September. A lot can happen in that time. Businesses in Wales lack clarity on our future trading arrangements and are currently wrestling with the preparations for a damaging no-deal Brexit. The risks to the food and drinks industry, particularly the red meat sector, are considerable. We know that 88% of food and drink exports currently go to the European market, and that the tariffs that would be placed on these exports in the event of a no-deal and WTO rules could be crippling. And moreover, the effects of non-tariff barriers and of sanitary and biosecurity checks at our borders and ports would pose a significant threat to the Welsh economy and the flow of goods and services with our nearest markets. And whilst we have been assured to some extent of the Welsh Government's planning as regards these matters, we will continue to scrutinise their activities in these areas during the coming months, and it must be said that no amount of planning can prepare us for such a scenario fully. Turn to our second priority. Leaving the EU necessitates the need for the governments and legislatures of the constituent nations of the United Kingdom to transform the way they work together and to ensure the interests of their nations are managed fairly as we leave the range of EU-wide common policy frameworks. Fundamentally, there appears to be a consensus emerging from all, except the UK government, that existing intergovernmental structures must change to keep pace with our future outside the EU. We and the Constitutional and Legislative Affairs Committee have previously highlighted that intergovernmental mechanisms within the UK are inadequate. Right? That's a gentle word, because we were stronger in some of our other combinations of it. And it is the inadequacy of these mechanisms that is likely to cause the increasing strain in the relationship between the UK and devolved governments in the months and the years ahead. There are two new scrutiny challenges that we, as an Assembly, must address with urgency. And that's the emergence of UK-wide common policy frameworks and the impact on devolution of UK international agreements. Now, I am pleased to note that the action the Chair's Forum commented upon last week and it agreed to take the relations in relation to the frameworks forward, and chairs of their respective committees will pass it on with their committees. I'm very much appreciative of that fact. I look forward to working with colleagues from across the Chamber and other Assembly committees as we meet those challenges posed under these new scrutiny tasks. And it is a very serious question we must ask ourselves, is how do we scrutinise these, and perhaps how do we do so with other legislatures as well. In doing so, we must keep in mind that decisions on frameworks and international agreements will have a profound effect on our ability to implement policies for the people of Wales in devolved areas, which are of significant importance. And for example, agricultural policy, environmental protection, aspects of healthcare and transport policy. They can all be impacted upon by international agreements, and the Welsh Government will be required to discuss the implementation of those through its policies. Our third priority relates to the freedom of movement and the continuation of citizens' rights after Brexit. And although there is broad consensus that there should be a reciprocal guarantee on citizens' rights after Brexit, there are still large areas of future policy that need to be considered and agreed. And it's for this reason that we've launched a consultation into the implications of the UK Government's white paper on the future of immigration rules after Brexit. We will also be launching an online conversation through the Dialogue app in the coming weeks, and holding focus group sessions with those most likely to be affected by changes to these rules in the autumn term. We cannot fail to do so. It is critical that we support our EU citizens living in Wales, because throughout this process it is important for us as a committee to state clearly to EU citizens living in Wales, you will always be welcomed here. The contribution you make is valued, and we hope that you will continue to make your lives here as part of our communities up and down this great country of ours. This was a message that I relayed during the recent visit of His Excellency the Romanian Ambassador to the UK, and it was frightening in an unofficial discussion we had with him and his accompanying groups, the Honourable Consulate for Wales highlighted how they, as a family or their children, were actually still told to go home, and there were children going to a Welsh medium education school. It's a message I want to continue to relay during the months ahead of us. It's something where I think every member in this chamber will want to join with me in relaying, that Wales will always be a home to people who want to live here and work here, and actually help us serve our people. Diolch yn fawr.
David Melding.
Diolch yn fawr, Llywyd.